Hi, everybody. Reverend Rob Lee here from Tarot with an Attitude. I have got some exciting news. I am going to be doing in-person live readings at the Off CABOT in Beverly, Massachusetts on Sunday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. If you've got a question, something you need to know, but you've always wanted to ask in person or didn't know how to do it, you know what? This is the time. Come meet me. Tickets are on sale already. Check the link out below, and everyone is going to get a reading. I look forward to meeting everybody and seeing you there. Thank you very much. Why, hello, everybody, and welcome. Oh, you know what we need to do? Boop. There we go. Everybody saw the magic whoop-de-doo.
I'm on the right side, wait, the left side.
But welcome, everybody, to the Crossing Realms Together with Miss Laura Van Tyne from the Karmic Path and myself, the Reverend Rob Lee from Tarot with an Attitude. All right. Wow. A lot of people already coming in, letting some people get settled. Donald, Cynthia. What's that?
Look at this. This is awesome. So I got a question for you about your upcoming event.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're going to do live readings for everybody.
Yes. Woo. Yeah, no,
right.
And there's X amount of VIP tickets that will get live readings after the show.
Excellent.
Post-show one-on-one, you know. Right. So 15-minute reading. So we're going to do this. We're going to keep it a little bit. We're going to have to keep it moving. All right. And we're also going to try to put it live on YouTube at the same time. So if y'all want to see something to watch and either be like, wow, that was cool, or holy crap, okay, make sure everybody tunes in Tarot and Attitude, February 23rd. This 2 weeks, Sunday night, 4 p.m. So what's happening with you, ma'am? You've had a busy week.
It's been a busy month. I was in Florida for something 2 weeks ago, and then last week I was in LA. So I heard you and Gillian had a great show, which was awesome. So I'm sorry I missed it, but I was on an airplane and I had dinner with one of my kids. So that was a bonus.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's interesting how these turn of events will like spawn a concept for a TV show, right?
Yes.
And we're talking about, you and I were chit-chatting about what happened, how was the stuff, and it was a great event and everything was good. But somebody came up to me, and this is kind of the impetus for the show. And then you had somebody reach out to you literally like moments after I'm telling you this. So I'm at this large conference. It's a Conscious Life Expo in LA, and there's just a ton of people, 15,000 people, and everybody's running around doing their thing and seeking for answers, et cetera. And this woman comes up to me and she starts talking, and she is so toxic. And I can't say, oh my gosh, you got something really heavy on you, because that's insulting. I don't know her belief structure. And so I'm literally, while she's in my space, she is naturally getting cleared. Okay. And then she leaves for a moment. She comes back and she goes, oh my God, I just realized something. And she tells me the story. She says, before she came to my booth, somebody had come up to her and grabbed her hand and held the palm of her hand like this and placed a crystal rock on it. And then started doing a pendulum over the rock, and it was going this way and that way, and he was mumbling stuff. She goes, once that person did that, I started feeling sicker and sicker and sicker. And so this is, I think, a form of spiritual discernment, because first of all, she was like taken aback that somebody just grabbed her hand and do this. She was honest about that. The next part is, though, we have the right to protect ourselves and say no.
Absolutely.
And this is that Trojan horse, right? He was offering her a free reading of something, total stranger. This person has no skin in the game. We don't know where they come from, what their reference point is. But whatever it was that he was doing to her was not for her greater good, because she really felt the negative impact. And so these Trojan horses show up all the time.
Yes,
so how do we know what they are, and how do we identify them? I guess is the point of tonight's show.
Absolutely, because I think it's very important. that, you know, our people understand, our tribe understands that just because, you know, they say if it sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Not in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You know, we did just 2 weeks ago, we did a whole thing on shapeshifting. All right. We've talked to people, and you know what's funny is what people really need to know is this topic came up before Laura told me the story. We had, you know, this came up through a whole other reading thing or whatnot. Doesn't matter. But that was, you know, that was really cool. And what was awesome about it too was now tell them about the lady that the older lady that came in and just said,
Well,
I need to sit. And folks, I want you to pay attention to the story because this is how people and dark things will slide in on you. Okay. Talk about that one,
so I'm
Laura.
at this conference, and it was a good conference, but they stuck me next to a booth that was literally releasing toxins. Okay. And so I am like, my energy is wearing thin. It's wearing thin anyways, because it's a large crowd of people. But when you've got 10 people 10 new people constantly releasing toxins out of this detox foot bath thing over and over and over, the toxins go somewhere. Everything is energy. And so I'm like literally I'm like, I ache everywhere. I feel like I have arthritis. I do not know what arthritis feels like, but I felt like I had it all over my body. And I'm feeling really weakened. And this really nice woman comes up and she buys something, and we're talking. We're having a great conversation. She says, "Do you mind if I sit down?" I'm like, "Absolutely, have a seat. You know, it's a long day." And then she says, "Oh, thank you so much. I'd love as a return of the favor, I'd love to read your Akashic records." And I had to say, "No, I'm sorry. I am not in a good headspace for that, because I don't know if I was so weakened. She could have been lovely. She could have been wonderful. She could have been the main Akashic reader from the Akashic records herself. I don't know. But I was in such a weakened space. I had to say no. I said, I don't want to be rude, but I have to say no to this offer because I can't trust my discernment at this moment in time. And she fully respected that. And I was grateful for that. But again, I don't know who she is. I've never met her before. She seemed nice. But you know what? A Trojan horse is a wonderful gift until you open it up, right?
That's right. And folks, that's the thing. People, you don't think spirit knows, especially spiritual people or whatnot, that we try healers, we try to be patient with other people, we open ourselves up, we put ourselves out there, we allow certain things to go, you know, yes, by all means, have a seat. Okay. But it's important that your intuition plays such a big role. That's why it's there. That when you know your own state, I won't do readings when I've been drinking. You know, we did at one point, we did the wine and spirit night, different things like that. And that was fun. But the whole point about that was to have fun. It was not really, you know, that big of a deal. But when I'm reading, I won't drink. I won't, you know, I won't. There's just things to know about yourself. And you have to understand that's so important. You know, even the Bible talks about, if you believe in Christianity and the Christian Bible, that, you know, Satan will not present himself in a manner, you know.
He's not going
So
to present himself
everything
as Satan.
doesn't. What's that?
He's not going to present himself as Satan. Hey, I'm Satan. How are you?
Exactly. You know, and if you think about this, and Laura, I think you and I have talked about this, certain things will present themselves in a very beautiful nature. A lot of dark entities, a lot of more demon-esque type of beings or demons themselves will actually present as a very innocent young girl. Like everybody's got that open heart. And that's, you know, I've seen that, you've seen that, or whatnot. So it's very important. We keep talking about vetting spirits. When you see these spirits, when you challenge them, always challenge them. All right. Make sure that you're understanding who and what you're dealing with. All right. Like one of Laura's favorite things, just throw salt at them. And I don't mean just like a pinch, just picture them bathed in salt, pouring salt. And you'll see, and Laura and I had an incident today where you might get a fluctuation, almost just like the TV went out of tune for a little bit.
Or a pixelation, right? So it pixelates a little bit, right?
Yeah, something like that. And that is important. Know what you're dealing with. No, especially when we're talking with the subconscious. So, I mean, this is a big thing. That's why I call it, when darkness hides in the light, because there are people that will draw you in, and you have to look at this. I used to tell there were people when I was doing sales training and stuff, and they would be too trusting. And I would say, they're like, oh, but they're so nice. So was Ted Bundy. He didn't get his victims by being an asshole. That's not how it works, folks. And that's what you need to understand. John Wayne Gacy, clown. It's these things that we have to understand. And I think what really gets me is I want my healers, I want my light workers, I want everybody to know, if you're working in healing and with the light, you have to acknowledge there's a darkness. Whatever way you want to put it, all right, the shadow, that, when we do shadow work, that's that deeper, darker part of ourselves, okay? It's not always evil, but there is a dark entity, dark side of things in the spiritual world. If there wasn't, we wouldn't need the light.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It would be a much better planet too, right? I mean, if love and light and blind faith and sage all worked, we would have a much different planet, because right now there's so many of us, so many light workers, so many people working for the good guys. It's actually making a difference at this point in time, but we always have to vet. And so you and I were working with a lovely woman today. And it was so much fun to work with you, by the way. We got to combine both of our talents, which was fun. And there was just, she's been seeking answers. And how many of us out there are constantly seeking answers, right? So when we're seeking answers, the goal is to seek with discernment, seek with I'm going to call it judgment, even though we're not supposed to judge. We're supposed to judge to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
Right? And if it doesn't feel right, if there's a spidey sense in you that says, I'm not sure, and you override your intuition, you're going to get clobbered. I have been hit over the head by the cosmic 2x4 so many times I can't count, right?
Absolutely.
But those, at the same time, let's say I'm looking for help and I'm working with this person, but my intuition is like, I don't know if I really trust this or whatever, but I let it happen. Okay. And then I get harmed in some way. Excuse me. It could be, maybe it's, I get an attachment or something else is happening. Know that we still have the power to override it and to clean it and clear it. Sometimes we need help. But when that happens, do not punish yourself for allowing it to happen. Do not punish yourself for not listening to your intuition, because guilt, shame, and blame brings down those vibrational frequencies so fast that we're also working so hard to bring up. So learn how to not, as Alyssa says, never second guess yourself. She's absolutely right. But when it happens, because it'll happen to the best of us every now and then.
Sure.
Know that, be able to forgive yourself. And forgiveness in this sense is not forgetness. It's like, okay, I totally friggin' screwed up. Okay.
Right.
Now I've got to fix this problem. And when you take the emotion out of it, you get to handle the problem with so much more ease and so much more grace.
Exactly.
And that's what life's about. We're
and
here
so let's talk a little bit about how to recognize some of this stuff when it happens. It's not always shape shifting. It's not always something like this, but it is something that could just be disguising itself, or we've let ourselves get to a point where we're mentally acceptable or susceptible, okay,
right,
to these implants and whatnot. And that's why it's important. I tell people all the time, you hear, and I use mindfulness a lot when I'm working with people, things like that. But there's a right mindfulness. There's a right thing to do with mindfulness. And a while back, I did a video about you need to remember, all right, we're now dealing with mindfulness that can be harmful because all you're doing is trying to escape something that needs to be addressed. So, mindfulness isn't, oh, this went wrong, that went wrong, trauma. I need to remember it's all over, let it go. If you haven't addressed it, if you haven't closed it out, if you haven't forgiven it, I'm not saying forgiveness is the magic answer. It's a good start, okay?
Yeah.
But if there is an issue you're trying to forget about by using mindfulness, that's not what mindfulness is about. But we're being hammered with this from people with all good intentions because they don't truly understand what they're talking about. So some of these people that are the Trojan horses, they're Trojan horses unintentionally.
Yes, absolutely. Let's back up a minute. What is a Trojan horse? Let's just talk about that for a moment. So the Trojan horse is somebody is gifting you this horse, but inside this horse is basically an army of people that are going to come out and rape and pillage, etc. That's kind of where that concept comes from. So that Trojan horse is a gift, but it's not a true gift. It's a false gift meant to cause harm. And so when a spiritual practitioner appears as a Trojan horse, chances are pretty good they're consciously not aware of it. However, your soul, you are responsible for your soul, period. Nobody else is responsible for your soul. So you have to work on creating a healthy soul, not through spiritual bypassing, which is kind of what you were talking about a moment ago. When we've got anxiety and we've got to, we're just putting Band-Aids on it, etc. Spiritual bypassing, I see a lot of that. Okay. Enough love and light and sage is just going to fix everything. And I'm just fine. And forget the fact that, I was raped when I was 10 and 14 and whatever, and this and that. I'm just going to bury that. Da, 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 da. Unfortunately, bad things happen to good people all the time. When they do, we still have to work on fixing those hurts and traumas and dramas. And it can take lifetimes to fix, and that's okay. Part of this process is to learn how to be patient with ourselves, learning how to love ourselves in that process. And I'm seeing a lot of Trojan horse activity lately, especially, and I kind of call it shaman shopping.
Okay.
Okay, we're just hopping from, and shaman is just the word du jour. I mean, you can just go online and get a certificate and you're a shaman. The true ones, the good ones are hard to find. Okay. Yep. And when you find a good spiritual, and a shaman can be any form of a spiritual practitioner, but when you find a good one, they're worth their weight in gold, and keep them in your close space there so you can pull that card when you need it, because we all need the help and the assistance. We're not meant to be doing life alone and learning spiritual practices and ascension and all of these things alone, but we have to be careful. And the shaman shopping, I'm talking about somebody who's maybe they've got a problem and they're really, it's like almost like an addiction, right? We talked about addictions with Chastity, who, by the way, if you haven't seen that show, that's a great show. Chastity's awesome.
Oh, you're Unveiling Addiction.
Yeah, Unveiling Addiction. Yeah, thank you. You're trying to fill this void, filling and filling and filling, and you're looking for every spiritual practitioner when maybe you need to be your own spiritual practitioner, or you have to find the one that fits you. It's no different than shopping around for a good lawyer, a good plumber, a good babysitter. You ask questions, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of people, tarot readers especially, we laugh, There was a time where I was actually on one of the websites. They hired me to, they saw what I did and interviewed me and made me do readings. And they were like, okay, you're going to be one of our top psychics. We're going to pay you. I forget the name of the site. And it was amazing how many people would come in and all, like, okay, well, I got a reading the other day from this person. They told me no, but I really feel the answer is yes. Now you're going to pay me money just so you can feel better about yourself. Folks, if you feel the answer is yes, go with yes. What do you need my approval for? Laura's approval. This is called life. It's called learning. And some of this, I want you to think about all of this kind of like a magnet. And this is another way you can detect when something's off. When two magnets, it's all good. Man, it comes together. They don't waste any time. It's click, it's snap, everything works. But when their polarities are reversed, they will start pushing things away. It becomes weird, okay? And when you're feeling that when you walk in, and this is where I want mindfulness to be aware, particularly if you're going into stores or even what Gillian and I call a juju shop, a crystal shop, things like that or whatnot. Before you go in, take a breath and open up, be aware, okay? Because there's a lot of energy in there, regardless, merely because of all the stones, everything else that's in there. There's so much in there. And then the people that are in there. You have to start looking at, wait a minute, why does this feel like I'm pushing two magnets together? That's the first sign. That's that inside, that that little vibration you get. Using your intuition and listening. A lot of times we don't think spirit is talking to us and we think, oh, I'm just being silly. When that was actually spirit doing what you've asked them to do and trying to go, hey, wake up. No. Okay. And again, we get so worried about being polite. No, well, I don't want to upset anybody. No, time to go, and Gillian will tell you, there's been times where she's looked at me and said, I think we need to just skip this one. And I was all in. I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention. And she's like, there's just something off. Got it. Okay.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And we're, as we're talking about this, it's okay to be wrong in our assessments.
Yes.
To learn from that as well. There's just so many. There's a lot of chaotic energies in these metaphysical shops because the dark side is attracted to the light. So I'm going to say many times they're like 50-50. Okay.
Right.
Looking at the bookshelves, for example, for me, when I see the word magic with a K at the end of it, I question that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of magic is it? Right. And that's me. That's one of my triggers. I don't like that. There's something to me that's off, but that's me. Am I right? I don't know, but I'm trusting my intuition on that one. It's not right for me.
And that's the key thing. One of my closest friends, Bruce and Bridget. Bridget is so receptive. And sometimes y'all need to remember this. Some of you are more receptive to these vibrations and this energy. She can only spend so long in a metaphysical shop, especially if there's a ton of crystals, because of just the vibration, the energy, and everything. She'll wind up with a headache. So will I. You can watch people in some of these shops. Some you can just feel the warmth, feel the love, everything else, and be fine. But others, you're like, listen to that vibe. Okay, listen to what's going on.
Absolutely. Alyssa here says she's got a good shop. I'd love to know the name of it and where it's at, Alyssa, just out of curiosity's sake.
Yeah.
You never know. I might be able to find myself there someday.
Exactly. Guys, if y'all have like mainly mystics, Jill sells some stuff, things like that. But if you have a good juju shop, okay, metaphysical shop near you, drop in your state and what the name of the shop is or whatnot. Because again, we're around all over the place. We talk to people, we're in circles, different things or whatnot. So love to know where they are, okay, and check them out. It's Royal Susie
Susie in Tampa, huh? Don't know it, but I'll be in Tampa in a few weeks. So there you go.
So there you go. Donna, I can only spend 15 minutes in Walmart. The energy there is very heavy. It can
that's
be.
fair.
It can be. You know, I used to love going on that site. It's called The People of Walmart. And let me tell you something. You know, y'all ain't going to beat a Walmart from Florida. Okay. It just is, you know, the heat, everything there or whatnot. But you're right. And Donna, that's something very important for people to remember. That's the type. Hey, Lori, welcome from Arizona. There we go. Everybody coming in. We're getting everybody from around the world tonight. Donna's here. Wolf's here. A lot of people here. Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all being here. We're keeping an eye on your comments. All right. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
I have a hard time in the stores in the chemical aisles.
Okay.
Tide detergents are. I have to steer a mile away from those because if I go down those, I come out with the wickedest headache ever. Doesn't matter where it's at. Yeah, you know, Wolf has talked. If I could go back in time, right, talk to my younger self, there's a lot of. I'd be like, self, you need to get this right.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. Hello from Idaho. Welcome. Let me see where to go. Okay, there it is. But Wolf, you need to understand that's learning. That's life. That's where we're at. And that's the reason you know now what you know. And that's kind of what Laura was talking about. Don't wish you could change it. Be thankful. And this is where gratitude comes in, that you learned from it. Okay. And that now, you know, yeah, don't we all have some of those things, you know?
Yeah. And you know, the other part of that is that it got to be so great to have that little cheat sheet, Wolf, right? Just to skip forward. I believe me, I'm with you on that. But yeah, it's life is interesting and we never know what tomorrow is going to bring us. And
exactly.
So, you know, what we're really talking about here is learning how to tap into our intuition, learning how to tap into our wisdom, our discernment, because the more we can do that, the higher we can start to raise our baseline frequencies along with other spiritual practices or oils or whatever it is we're using. And the more we can do that, when we do come across something negative or a bump in the road or, you know, a hiccup or, you know, sliding off the ledge, we don't fall as hard and we bounce back faster.
Absolutely. You know, and, you know, one of the things I brought this up because I want to get to it. Okay. One of the things I remind my people of, especially my healers, my things like that, we get so caught up in our own routines, okay, that they can be the death of us. Because how many times we go to Walmart, we don't want to go in, or we've got so much on our head, we get out of the car, march right in, and then we're marching into an energy factory. Are we taking time before we get out of the car to even talk to our guides, talk to God, talk to the mother, talk to our angels and say, I need my shield of protection on. I don't want to walk out of here with anything that I didn't intentionally buy. And we forget very little steps, but these are the steps that protect us from the Trojan horses.
Yeah.
Right?
And I want to address Lori's question in a moment here,
yes.
but capitalizing off of what you're just saying, when I go into places, especially if I have to go to a hospital, hospitals are just haunted. I don't care where you're at. They're haunted because they're fear-based. Okay.
Right.
So fear is a lower frequency emotion. They're usually haunted. So whenever I go anywhere, I make the request for my angels to be with me. I have one in front. I ask for one angel to be in front of me, some on the sides and some on the back. And I give them the instructions. I'm asking these angels that I need to go to this place. And I'm making the request that you remove everything that is not for my greater good from the moment I leave my house to the moment I come back. And to take it and properly clear it. Binding, burying, and casting away dark energies, entities is not the answer. Nope. Because they come back. So absolutely. And so, Lori, if you're feeling like you have a ton of heaviness, there could be a clearing that needs to happen. And a lack of motivation is a sign of that, because when you get so bogged down with these heavy energies, and they could also be heavy entities, as it could be a mixture of things. And then the old coping mechanisms surface. Maybe it's overeating. Maybe it could be many things, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting help for something like that, because sometimes getting help outside of ourselves is hitting something over the head directly, and it's very, very helpful. And there's some times where, we all need help. Relying on spiritual practitioners to fix every one of our problems all the time is not a good idea. But when we're feeling like you are, Lori, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know which way's up anymore. I can't figure things out. Yeah, absolutely. That could very well be the case. And it could be clearing of yourself or your home or something else.
And it could be just an actual clearing of your own thoughts, your subconscious, things like that. Something could be attached. Because everything you're mentioning there, Lori, are the first symptoms we look for in the beginning of a depression. Okay.
And if we can kick it out before it hits, right?
Exactly. So I challenge people, and I always say, okay, you see this, you feel it, you're getting weary. A lot of times it's just easier to lay down with it than it is to stand up and go, you know what? I'm not dealing with this today.
Oh, it's exhausting when you're getting pummeled.
Oh my God.
When you're getting pummeled, it's everything you can do to gain the strength to do a simple daily task. Yep. It can be that heavy. And meditations and prayers may not work in some of these moments because the energy is so heavy. It's like you're trying to pray and meditate, but it keeps hitting a wall over and over and over. And we just have to one of the things we can do if we're suffering from this is bring in orange essential oil. The orange essential oil shifts the brain chemistry. There's studies on this.
Right.
Wash your hands with salt, cold water and salt, and up to your wrists. And for all you Reiki people out there, learn how to, when you're removing garbage from people, I'm calling it garbage, although it's kind of a rude term, learn how to put it in an etheric or energetic hazmat bag. Because when you do that, you're not littering the ether. I love Reiki practitioners, but I wish they would teach Reiki people how to clear themselves, because you'll get less burnout in this field.
Exactly. And there's two statements here I want to address. Wolf, yeah. I want to learn how to tap into my intuition. You know where this starts? Trusting what you're hearing in your head. You have to understand listening to your gut. And everybody's born with intuition. It's just how many people are tuned into it. So you can start by simply going, okay, who's going to be the first person to call me on the phone today? All right. And put yourself out there, put some energy out there. Are you going to be right out of the gate? I don't know. Okay. But you could, and it's feeding that place to trust yourself. Ask somebody to think of a number. You tell them what the number you're thinking is. Okay. And don't do one of those setup deals. Okay. But start learning to trust yourself. Get yourself deck cards, get yourself some tarot, and start just pull a card over before you flip it over. What feeling, what vibe you get. Flip the card over. Don't have to match that card perfectly, but you can see if the mood or what you were feeling matched the artwork or whatever is presenting on that card. These are exercises you practice with it, just like everything else. And it's very important. The other one I really want to address, Alyssa, you know I love you, okay? Remember, it's tarot with an attitude. Okay. You get mad, you get glad. Lord knows I'm fixing to really put my foot in it. Okay.
And I want to go back to the intuition thing when you're done.
Okay. This is copping out. It's up to you to learn how to say, I'm in this place. Either I need to stay away from people, or B, I need to learn how to handle it. But to put somebody else in a situation that you don't want to be in, that's not good. That's not good energy either. Okay. It is coping. Wow, I don't want to be around people. I hate being around people. People are going to piss me off today. Got it. So now it's time to get control. Okay. Do some meditation or whatnot. And that is exactly the time to go out and run your tour yourself and be present. What's that, Laura?
What else you can do? Because I get that too, man. It's like, oh my gosh, if I'm around people, it's just going to like wipe me out. And so learn how to bring in your auric field. So there's a lot of us out there who have these giant ass auric fields, and we're bumping auric fields with all these people around us. Just learn how to retract it and bring it in close to you. So this way your energies are not commingling as much with other people.
Right. I call it my bubble. I know you don't like bubble, but we'll go with shield. Okay. All right. You ain't popping my bubble, baby. It's just the way it is, because my bubble is actually a shield. It's a protection. Think of Star Trek, and the force field that goes on around the ship. That's what happens. And sometimes, folks, when you bring up your force field, you need to remember, is it enough for you to get through, or is it to say, there's something really off here. I do need to get out. Okay. And leave. That's the type of thing. Now, you said you wanted to say something about the intuition.
When it comes to intuition, and I'm working on a really like a 30-minute online course to help people develop their intuition, because this is like one of the biggest things out there. When it comes to our intuition, one of the things you can do is start journaling when you get it right and when you get it wrong.
Yep.
And as you do that, remember how you're feeling in those moments when you got it right, and how were you feeling in those moments when you got it wrong, and learn from it. Another thing that I'll have people do is get 3 little note cards and put 3 completely different words on it. Coffee, grass, and trombone. I don't know. Shuffle them up. Okay. And then start to put your hand over it. Say, I'm looking for the card with coffee on it. And just put your hand above that card that has the word coffee, and start to feel the vibrational frequencies. This is a subtle energy thing that has the word coffee on it. If you're right, bonus. Okay, stop there. Give yourself the win for the day. If you were incorrect, try it again. And it's a game. This is a game that you can play that no one else has to know about, to develop your intuition. But journaling can be a really good aspect about it. And I'm talking about journaling on paper with a pen or pencil, not on your phone. Right. Because when we are writing with the contact to paper to pencil, it's a more grounded experience than typing on a cell phone.
Right, exactly. And people don't understand. It's also it's a mechanical muscle action. Yeah. And what I would like to see you do is, as you're writing it down, be speaking what you're saying out loud. Your ears hear it. Your brain is making your muscles actually perform the action. Then read it back. Hear it back in. You don't. I mean, those are awesome exercises I've used for many different things for journaling. Sure, and like you said, the cheating is, okay, I'm journaling. Voice mode. Yeah. This really sucks. Okay, I journaled today.
And Wolf had to pop out for a moment, so we just addressed it. So you have to go back and listen. We're talking about journaling and doing some other things to increase our intuitive abilities. So,
yeah, and folks, one of the things, that's what tarot cards are good for. They've got numbers, they've got pictures, they're all labeled, everything else. And here, when you're trying that exercise, I always tell people, start with your left hand. Left hand is receiving, right hand is giving. That's the Buddha doing this. Okay. What I want you to understand, close your eyes and focus on what you feel in your hand. Let your brain and your muscles connect, wave them around. Y'all have seen me do it on here. You just didn't know what I was doing when I'm trying to pick what deck to answer a question with.
I thought
When
you were
I'm
doing a little hula dance, Rob. What?
do what?
I thought you were doing a little hula dance behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
that's me, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Little Bee Gees going in the background, you know, or whatnot. But you know, that's a good thing to do and a good way to do it. And because then you can remember, you can walk into a store and you can open your hand, all right, and do it like this, however, but start feeling the different energy. Remember, what you can do is form a chi ball. Think energy, feel the energy from above. If you're a Reiki person, you understand what I'm talking about. From above, from below, let it merge, let it come through your hands, and start bringing that together. Folks, you will feel pressure on your hands as you start to form a chi ball. Y'all see me roll them, different things like that. And that can be sent out. These are also things you can do in a store, in a car, whatever. Don't close your eyes in the car unless you're a passenger. Okay.
And Wolf, I'm left-handed too, by the way. Just saying.
There you go. But you know what? Your
minds.
receiving hand is still your left hand. Okay?
Yes, it is.
And that's what we receive with. So it's one of those things. When I do errands, everything I buy, I cleanse everything I buy on top of clearing and protection multiple times a day. And you know what, Crystal, I think you bring up a good point for a lot of us. Who said we're only supposed to do it every now and then? It's anytime you've been in a situation, and Laura, you and I talked about this today in this other incident, when there are times, every time, kind of like what you were talking about with Reiki practitioners, things like that. Every time you get done dealing with somebody, you should take a moment to pray, meditate, whatever it is you want to call it for yourself, but to call in your angels crew, your guides, and say, I'm keeping none of this. Okay. It's not mine to keep. The clearing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we forget and then we want to blame, oh, I had this really weird person in today. Well, if you did you cleanse yourself? Did you do a clearing? Did you even ask for, hey, I need a spiritual back scrubber here, or what?
Secondhand stores, thrift shopping, you want to clear every one of those items because you don't know what's attached. A lot of times when somebody dies, their beloved whatever is there, and that living person or that dead person can be attached to it. So secondhand stores especially, you just want to clean and clear. And one of the clearing practices and by the way, when I work with people, it's not the best business model, but it works. So let's say I've got a 60-minute session. I always go an hour and a half, no matter what I do. But then I've got an extra half hour so I can clean and clear myself to make sure, no different than a doctor doing surgery, right?
Right.
You want them to be scrubbed down and clean and clear of other extraneous viruses and bacteria. You want your spiritual practitioner to also be clean and clear also. So absolutely. Yeah. Those exes can be really pesky.
And a lot of times, don't blame it on the ex. We still have an attachment we haven't cut. All right. And that is something, because if you haven't successfully brought closure to that in your own life, you're now open to that keep returning energy, especially parents that are dealing with raising a child and now they're apart, because the contact has to remain. So understand, we'd be glad to help you if you want to set up something with Laura, set up something with myself. Be glad. The links are down below.
The other aspect is, if you're dealing with a narcissist, it's really difficult to break those cords.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna share a little secret with everybody about, and this is a great technique. I don't think I've shared it. If I have shared it, just remind me. So if you've got something that someone who you feel is constantly causing you negative energies, that you are getting these thoughts that you are not your own, or you're constantly sick, but the doctor says you're just fine. It could be a living person. So there's many types of hauntings.
Correct.
The living haunting the living is the hardest version to break. Ghosts are easy. Dead people, easy. Demons, way easier. Not maybe as easy as a ghost, but yes. So the living can haunt the living is one of them. The dead can haunt the living. We hear about that. The living can haunt the dead, but the living that haunt the living is hard. So I'm going to share with you a little technique that works great. And I've got a lot of stories and feedback about this. And this is salt and foil. Have I shared this? Have I shared this one?
You have, but do it again.
Okay.
It fits right now.
So you've got somebody who you feel is negatively impacting you. Okay. You're going to want to be able to return the energy. You're not doing it with malice or hatred. It's like, you know what? I don't want that gift. I'm sending it back. Okay. You're going to take that person's name and you're going to write their name on it, and write that person's name on a little piece of paper. Get some aluminum foil and salt. And you're going to take the aluminum foil, just a sheet of it, shiny side up. Put the name on that foil and salt it and wrap it up like a flat envelope. What you're doing is you're returning the energy. Mirrors are portals, and we're just sending the energy back. Now, if they're sending you love and light and blessings, you are not harming them. If they are sending you hate, spells, whatever, you have the right of refusal, because this is your soul health. So, Lori, that may be helpful. I've got a lot of other tools and strategies.
Yep.
I really believe, as you know, Reverend Rob, to work with the person on that psychic etheric level so we can see together what's happening. Lori, there may be other things happening. We assume that everybody's spiritual team is of the light. Guess what? Newsflash, not so much.
Right. Exactly.
And Denise, it's so lovely to see you again. Yes.
You know, Tootie, you're not alone. Okay. They're really not that hard. It just takes a little practice. But if you don't like them, check out Oracle cards. Oracle cards are different from one deck, whatever they wrote or whatever they be. There's not 78 of them. Normally there's 45, 50 in that ballpark. And the messages can be great. But it's understanding that tarot cards have a structure. They do have, you know, despite, all right, when I pull up, all right, my Chariot card here, okay, we can see, all right, got a guy sitting on top of a carriage, horses are galloping, and he's sitting up top, and what you can't see is he's not even holding the reins. He's controlling everything with his mind. Whereas the tarot card from a different one may have completely different artwork, depending on what it is. But they have the same basic meaning. They're a 7. So you look up the numerology for a 7. Okay. It's understanding, okay, that the base meaning of that card is moving forward, keeping in control. It's just that simple. Okay. Then it's allowing your intuition, allowing spirit to speak to you when you see different things each time you pick up that card in the artwork. I've worked with decks for years, and then all of a sudden I'm picking up a deck I've used for a year, and I see something different in one of the cards that I just hadn't seen before. That spirit bringing that to light. So it's not as complicated as it appears, but there's 78 cards, and yes, you do need to learn the meaning, to the base meaning for those cards. But 9 times out of 10, if you look in my book, Tarot Simplified, you know, people will ask me what's the hardest thing about learning tarot? Throwing the book away. Okay. It is learning to listen to the message. The base meaning of that is a guide. It's what you're talking to spirit about or whatnot. You know, Donna, I've been journaling for years. 2 years ago, I bought colored pens, and I use 3 different colors on each day. Title each day: gratitude, blessings, and thankfulness. You know, that's awesome.
Oh
That's an
man, right?
amazing practice.
And
Absolutely.
gratitude and thankfulness really destroys the Trojan horse. Because when we fill our hearts with gratitude and thankfulness and blessings, it empowers us and it makes us stronger. Because when we take gratitude and we utilize it for what it really is, it means that, you know what, we're grateful for those unpleasant experiences that we've had because it taught us a lesson. And so it fills your heart even more. So those Trojan horses we become more impenetrable to them. Which
Yes.
is why in the beginning, when we talked about the woman, I knew I was at a low point energetically. I could not trust my reading on that person. Could that person really do I wouldn't do an Akashic record on the fly like that anyways. That's just me because that's spiritual bypassing for me.
And that's too impressionable. I
Yes.
would tell you, do not do an Akashic Records reading with somebody you don't know basically intimately of how they work and everything else. We've kind of talked about this before, and I strongly urge you. I know, I've been to the shows. I do the shows, these different things. People are going to come in and see me on the 23rd and put things in my hands that, that other people you got to be careful with. I don't want to abuse that. And one of those parts about is y'all always hear me at the beginning talk about not me. I don't want me to come through. It's spirit. It's not the cards. These are cardboard. If these fell in the toilet, I go buy another deck. Okay. It's just, that's not it.
We got another question I got for you, but go ahead.
Okay. No, that's it. Go right ahead. No. Yeah. Did you say you had another question or no?
No, I said, if your cards are falling in the toilet, I've got another question for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess I use that analogy too much.
But that's a great analogy, though. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because and it's part of that human condition is learning about detachment.
Right.
Detachment comes in many forms. It's the ability to let go of something. And there's a feng shui concept. As we let go of something, we make room for new.
Correct.
As well. So,
and in that we talk about in tarot, we have the death card, 13. And it's amazing how many people they fear that card. And in actuality, that's not talking about physical death. It's talking about transformation, letting something go so something new can grow, changing into a new person, changing your personality, allowing things to happen and to be. It's really, and if you go back to when tarot started centuries ago, okay, it is one of those things where death was the biggest way they could think about for transformation. I'm transforming from this life into the next. So, there are a lot of things with tarot that people are like, oh, they're evil, oh, please. If you really need to go understand your own Bible, it's one of those things. It's all about intention. Where do you go and what do you do?
It is, everything is intention. Everything we do, every word that comes out of our mouth, every turn that we take with our car, there's an intent behind it. Period.
Right. Exactly. How many people have we heard say, I'm sorry? But the first thing in our thought was, you're not sorry what you did. You're sorry because you got caught.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Intention. And only that person knows the intention of that apology. Maybe they did realize what they did. Would they have realized it if they had been busted? Who knows? This can go into so many different directions. But these are where these Trojan horses lie.
And a good
go
example of a Trojan horse is what I call the but apology.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but. That's a Trojan horse right there. They hook you in with the word I'm sorry, and then the word but comes in. That's not an honest apology.
No, it's not. And here's the thing I tell people in readings and whatnot all the time. I hear you, Rob, but okay, let's analyze what but means. Okay. Everything Rob just said was correct. Okay. Now you want to do it your way. Okay. It's just reasoning to follow along. If you're not going to listen to the message that was given, I tell people all the time, be careful what you ask for you just might get it. And if
Mhm.
you don't like the answer, it's up to you to accept it or reject it. Okay. But that's why intuition, when you're talking to someone like me or like Laura, you need to have that gut intuition where you're going, this rings true. There's an element of light there. There's an element of shining a spotlight on something that needs to be worked on.
Well,
You know?
when something does ring true for you, ask yourself, why did it ring true for me?
Right.
Because when we ask the why, and I've got friends and family that just like they get so tired of my questions. I'm full of them all the time. But I ask the questions why. Must have drove my parents nuts. Because when
Right.
we get the answer to a why, it validates our findings
Exactly.
or invalidates the findings, which is still a finding.
You know, in one of the videos I just did, I talked about root cause analysis and the 5 whys. And I want y'all to go back and look at that. I wish I could remember the name of it. So you'll just have to watch several videos till you find it. Okay. But, you know, when somebody says, but, all right, wait a minute. They didn't ask themselves why. You know, it's funny in sales and every different thing. I would come up and say, why did you do this? Well, for this. Okay. Well, why is that an issue? And we keep going down. And I never forget, God rest her soul, this lovely lady I had on my team, they wanted to fire her. And I'm listening to her, sneaking in and listening to her. And they all knew we did it. But I figured it out because I kept asking why. Why is this what's going on? And finally, Spirit gave it to me. She was an abused wife. We had call handling times, things like that we had to deal with. And what Spirit gave to me, and I finally heard it, with a woman, she could be in and out, no problem. Boom, boom, boom. The minute she was challenged by a guy, all right, she would actually almost pick up a speech impediment. And boom, the light went on. I was able to get with her, okay? And finally was actually able to get her help, got her into a shelter. It was true. She finally admitted it, broke down at my desk crying, okay? We got her help. She became one of our star agents. You know, it's just one of those things. And that's why you got to ask why. Why is she so slow? Oh, well, why is she fast with a woman, slow with a guy? Why does she have a speech impediment with the guy? Why, when somebody gets even more forceful, you see, those are things. This is root cause analysis. And we don't do that enough with ourselves or with other spiritual people and beliefs in our life.
Absolutely. It's a great story too, because, and also the woman who had those experiences, because she had those experiences, she can focus in on certain things with that particular her job, right?
Yep.
So makes a difference. And you know what? Thank you, Lori. I look forward to talking to you as well. You've got a great name. You know, I think that would be fun. Nancy's talking about doing a show on dreams. I think we
Let's
could
do it.
totally do that. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So I tell you what, why don't we say we'll work on that for next Wednesday?
I think that's perfect for next week. We're going to talk about
Because there's a
dreams,
lot
lucid
about
dreaming.
dreams.
Yeah, there is.
Even in the scientific, take spirituality and everything out of it. Even in the scientific world, they're now all split. Nobody firmly believes, one thing anymore. So yeah, that would be a great.
I have a few blogs that I've written on dreams, lucid dreaming, and all the like. So they're free out there on my website, the Karmic Path. Just type in dream on the search bar and they'll pop up. But I think that would be a fun thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, wow. Thank you. This was awesome. What a great and wonderful night.
Hour.
Yeah, that was a fast hour. Have you got anything you want to close with?
I am just grateful for everybody being here. I feel regenerized tonight. I mean, I've been working. I left the show and then I came back here and I've been working. And I was so tired an hour ago and now I'm not. So thank you guys.
Good. I know I feel that way a lot. There are times, and I know y'all don't want to hear this, that especially with my one-off shows where I'm just doing readings, I'm like, I really don't want to do this tonight. But man, I come out of here so invigorated, it takes me an hour and a half to wind back down. So everybody remember, Friday night, Tarot with an Attitude, live on camera. I won't answer your questions in chat. Be ready. We'll give you a link and you will actually come on camera with me. We've done this 2 Fridays in a row, and it has been nothing short of awesome. So you are live on Friday night. Join us same time, 8:30 Eastern. Love to see you all there. So, with all that being said, Miss Laura, everybody, take what you want, leave what you don't, but leave having experienced some peace, love, and light. Back around.